From Montgomery to Hill, Greene County and Paris, Portia taking on the Blackbelt, and she ain't scared. Marengo County, something county, Will, Cops, and Barber. Interviewing everybody, sister, brothers, and mamas. It's Portia.
I started Portia Takes on the Black Belt and Beyond because I am beyond the Black Belt now, and I wanted to highlight some things and some people. The person that I'm getting ready to introduce to you, I met her when I was working at Turning Point in Tuscaloosa. She came in as one of my super volunteers. Amanda, and I'm not just saying, you know this, she's translated for us. I've called her. She used to always be the volunteer that we can count on. And one of the things that she told me when I met her is that she had this idea of what she wanted to do. And you could tell that she had the drive. And when I opened up the AL.com article that they had this year, I tagged Andre. And I was like, Andre, they watching Amanda. And she had actually come through with what it is that she told me to do with the Yellowhammer Fund. So you guys welcome Amanda to the show, and we're happy to have you as we talk about abortion in Alabama. So how you doing, Mandy?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I appreciate you coming on the show, and I definitely appreciate you being here tonight. So tell us a little bit about Yellowhammer Fund.
Yeah. Well, the Yellowhammer Fund is a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization. And what we do is we help offset the cost of abortion care for folks who are seeking that care at a clinic in Alabama. So it's not just Alabamians that we help because we live in an area of the country where abortion is so restricted that there are very few clinics. And so we actually help a lot of people who end up being from Mississippi and Tennessee and Georgia and the Florida Panhandle because they have to travel to Alabama for care. So we help Alabamians and we help all these other people in our region as well.
Okay, so let's talk. See, we have a couple of comments already. Who do we have here? This is Elizabeth Stan. I know you know Liz. She said, hey, y'all rock. Hey, Liz. Jadrin. She said, my service not good. Go outside. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you. But thank y'all for tuning in, and we're happy to have you here. We're definitely happy to have you here. So let's jump right in this thing. The abortion bill. Now, I've had a lot of questions of people asking me, what is in the bill? Is this true about the bill? Can you give us the highlights? The low height, but can you tell us about what the bill is and what it isn't? Most people think that the bill is, abortion is going to be done immediately, and some things that I want you to clear up. That abortion is going to be done immediately. The other thing is that that the woman is going to be arrested if she has it. The doctor is going to be arrested if she has it. Can you clear all that up?
Yes, I can. So, excuse me. The first thing is that no, abortion is not illegal in Alabama right now. The bill did pass. Governor Kay Ivey did sign it. But the way the bill is written, it says that the bill will not go into effect for 6 months after the governor has signed it. And so the bill will go into effect 6 months from yesterday. Okay. If the ACLU is not successful and our other, collaborators and allies here in Alabama are not successful in getting a court to put a stay on it so that it does not go into effect. And the reason why a lot of the, why this 6 month waiting period is on there is so that the ACLU and these other organizations do have a chance to sue. And wow. The ACLU says that they are prepared to sue and they are, very close to, having that filed.
All right. Now explain to people ACLU in Alabama. What exactly do they do? Why is it important if you're looking for people who are supporting abortion and for it to stay in our state? Why is it important for people to support the ACLU?
ACLU has been really great to us, here in Alabama because they really realize what it means for these things to be, unavailable and illegal, and what that can do to individuals and communities, right? That it causes, harm to communities, and mostly harm to communities that are already marginalized. And so most of the work that the ACLU does is work in the court, and work to sue the people that need to be sued, so that we can make sure that our rights are not being infringed upon.
Correct. Do you think that the ACLU and Planned Parenthood and all, they're coming down to sue the state? Do you think that they have a chance of being successful?
I don't know. I think, that they're very well prepared for this. And, they've been working hard on it for months, right? They've been working hard on it as soon as it was introduced. These folks have been working on it. And, they work with people in other states, as well. This is a very different bill, piece of legislation than all of the other, 6-week heartbeat bans that have been passed around us. But, they're smart. They've done this before, right? They have successfully sued the state of Alabama and prevented them from putting into effect really harmful pieces of abortion restrictions.
Why now? Why is this restriction the way that it is now? Like, why now? Why in 2008? It was on the ballot about the amendment in November. Why now? Why is it that the state of Alabama is saying we're going to do this right now? Why?
In my personal opinion, it's political grandstanding, right? And I said this, right? I said this to NPR as well, that this is their preparation for 2020, right? They're trying to score political points by saying, this is how pro-life we are, that we are not going to do this 6-week ban thing. We are going to, enact an outright abortion ban. And we're not even going to put, exceptions in it, for people who are survivors of, sexual assault. And that you only do that because you want to score political points. And that's also one of the reasons why they wrote in this bill the 6-month waiting period, right? And I think it was Senator Singleton or Senator Silverman, who is my senator.
He's mine too.
Yes, he's my senator. I'm very happy about that. I need to see him someday in the hall and give him a handshake or something. But he said this, right? That I lost my train of thought because I was just talking about how. Where was I? What was I talking about?
We were talking about the restrictions on it.
Oh, yes. He says, Senator says, he says on the floor of the Senate the other day that if you are so pro-life and you believe in this so much, why don't you make it take effect immediately? Right? And he's like, why was this bill, because this bill was not something that was co-written by, Democratic and Republican legislators, right? This is a bill
breaking up
that was a pro-coalition and with the Alabama pro-life coalition. And so this is their language. This is not, the language of senators. And as they have said over and over, Representative Terry Collins and Senator Chambliss, who, represented this in the Senate, they have said over and over and over again that the way the bill is written is designed specifically to help them challenge Roe versus Wade. And that is why it has the 60-day waiting period, because they are to have abortion banned in Alabama and illegal and unavailable. It is their goal, but it is a secondary goal to their larger goal of overturning Roe versus Wade. And if they didn't have that provision, that waiting provision in the text of the legislation, number one, it might not have, been able to go through committee, even as extreme as it was. And they thought that, courts might not, accept it at all, and they would have no chance. And so the 6-month ban, the 6-month period is, designed to provoke, right, the ACLU and
Right.
Planned Parenthood and all of these people who normally step in and sue. And so, right, this is just about political grandstanding for these legislators and trying to, get these dollars and like get this attention in preparation for, all kinds of, different runs in 2020. And that, as a lot of our Democratic senators said, that this is dangerous and this is irresponsible and that they are literally gambling with people's lives, which is true.
So it is November the 15th, 6 months after Kay signed it into law. What happened to women who get pregnant and want to have an abortion? What happens on November the 15th?
Okay, so what happens is what we will do as an abortion fund is what we're really set up to do, is to help people get out of our state to seek safe and legal abortion care. And we actually already have mechanisms to do this, and we actually already do this in some ways, right? People who are in Mobile, the southernmost part of the state, if they're over, 14 weeks and 4 days, they can't have a procedure in their closest clinic, which is in Montgomery. And so sometimes we try to get them to Atlanta to, clinics there. And so to do that, sometimes to, help them take that really long, drive or that trip and things like that, we, have to help them with things like hotel rooms. Like we book hotel rooms for them so they can stay overnight, right? So they don't have to leave, Mobile at 2:00 in the morning for their appointment, and things like that. And we do this, quite regularly. And so this is what we would do, and this is what and it works. And so a lot of folks were saying, well, what are you doing with all of these donations, right, that are coming in? And what will you do if this like ban takes effect? And what I said was, well, we are a member of the National Network of Abortion Funds, which is a national and actually international network of abortion funds, because we have funds that are part of it in Mexico City and in Ireland.
Wow.
And so it's like we're an international like group of funds. And we have, we organize together through this national network so that we can build those structures to get people safe and legal abortion care wherever it exists. And that's what I'm going to do with all of the donations that we, have been given. I am, putting it in those systems so that people this year, and, actually today and tomorrow, right? It's like that money has let me help people like actually like today and tomorrow, and in the future, to make sure that they can get the care they need. So it's like, that money is going to help them today. If this ban goes into effect on November 15th, which I mean, my money's on the ACLU, but if this ban goes into effect on November 15th, then, we will be more than ready to get people, out of state to get the care that they need. And we'll be fine doing it because you can't arrest me for buying a plane ticket, right? You can't arrest us for booking a hotel room. You can't do that. I'm not performing abortions.
Right.
I just booked the hotel room.
And that's what a lot of women, and I had a lot of people that were asking, I was reading a post, and they were saying that even if you go somewhere else to do an abortion, you're going to get arrested or whatever. And I'm like, no, that's not accurate. That's not accurate. It's
not accurate at all.
Right. So if the abortion is done in this state, the doctor will get arrested.
Yes. And
so with the female?
No.
Okay.
But that's according to the bill.
Okay.
So I say that with two caveats, which I think are really important, and not designed to scare people at all. So, it is currently illegal in Alabama, to self-manage your abortion, right? To self-induce your abortion, to do a DIY abortion, right? Those kinds of things. It is illegal, and you can be criminalized for doing that for yourself in two different ways. And you can look this information up via National Advocates for Pregnant Women.
Okay.
They're a nonprofit, National Advocates for Pregnant Women. They have a lot of information about this and how they work to fight it. They're amazing people, and they do a lot of amazing work here. But there are two ways that you can, potentially be criminalized for being suspected of self-managing your abortion, right? A good thing to note here, right? And this is just like information, like information that you can find anywhere, but no one can actually tell the difference, right? Unless, you have some like internal damage, right? Like no one can actually tell the difference between an abortion that is like self-induced with something like pills or a naturally occurring miscarriage, right?
Wow.
Those kinds of substances don't like show up in your body, right? So if, people are telling you that, you're going to get drug tested and they'll find out that you're doing this, XYZ, it's like, they can't test you for that. There's nothing that shows up. But that is not, the testing is not the only way that they try to get people. And I will explain this more clearly right now. So I went off on a tangent, and this is important information.
She's a doctor. She's been asking me, and I was like, tune in, and she gonna explain everything. So go ahead. People want to know the truth, so break it down.
Okay, so you can be criminalized for self-managing, self-inducing your own abortion in two different ways. One of those is called via the chemical endangerment law, right? That's the sort of nickname we have for it. And right, that states, the original design of that law was to put specific criminal charges on people who were essentially like cooking meth in houses where their children lived.
Right.
Good law.
Mm-hmm.
But Alabama prosecutors decided to interpret that law to say that women and people who, used substances, maybe like smoked, marijuana or, other things like that, they did the same thing essentially as, make meth in the house where their kids live, because, they said the pregnancy in the fetus's house is your body, right? So they defined a person's, body as a house. So it's like they defined them literally as a vessel, this prosecutor, literally, so you are a vessel, right? Yeah. And, regardless of whether there is like harm, to any, any child that's born out of these like pregnancies, people are charged with, people who self-manage their abortion are charged under these chemical endangerment statutes, right? And they're also used to charge people who do things, like smoke marijuana or, maybe like drink alcohol or, do other things. And they've also been used to criminalize, people who are taking medications that have been prescribed to them by their doctors, actually. Wow. Yes. And, the fact that these medications were prescribed to them correctly for conditions that they did have, courts, have pressured people into pleading guilty because they're shaming them around the pregnancy. And so, right, it's bad for a lot of reasons, right? This chemical endangerment law looks really good on its face, on maybe the two faces, right? Because we don't, because it's not great for people, to be heavily drinking or drinking regularly when they're pregnant, but that doesn't mean they need to go to jail.
Right.
That doesn't mean to go to jail.
Yeah. Because you can throw them in jail, but that doesn't mean that they are over the addiction. They just made it work. They just find something else to be addicted to. That does make sense. So do you?
Exactly. So that's one way through this chemical endangerment law that they interpret through all of these different ways. They can charge you with self-managing, your own abortion. The other way that they can do this through Alabama law is they can charge you with practicing medicine on yourself without a license. And this has happened in other places as well. I can't for certain say that it exists. It has happened in Alabama. The National Advocates for Pregnant Women may have more information about that on their site. I know for sure. But you can, and prosecutors in other states have charged pregnant people who they suspected, not who they actually proved, but they suspected of self-inducing their own abortions with practicing medicine on themselves without a license. And this bill, right, and the lawmakers and the legislators were very, very careful with how they used the language around, they did their messaging around this. They were very good, and they said, yes, it is true. This bill, HB 314, does not criminalize pregnant people for, abortions that are performed on them or are attempted to be performed on them, or abortions that they, right, those two things. But these other statutes that already exist could be used against them in other ways.
I got what you're saying, because they'll find a way to scare them not to do it. But you do have a question you've already covered. I think this is somebody that came in late, and she said, I hope someone provides a service to take women across state lines to states that allow abortions. And you did cover that briefly. And you talked about Yellowhammer Fund. Can you give that information on where people can go to Yellowhammer Fund and be able to donate to help women do what she's asking?
Yes. So, yes, thank you, Jadrian, for your question. And it's like, we actually do that now. We actually do help people get across state lines to get abortions that they need. And so you can help us do this, better. And, if the ban goes into effect, you can definitely help us make that possible by making a donation. And you can make a donation on our website if you go to yellowhammerfund.org or Yellow Fund, YELLOW, like the color, fund, FUND.org.
Okay. I'm trying to see, did you have any more questions at this time? You don't. All right. So going back to the vote. So you're sitting there and you're listening to the vote. I want to go to the House first, because Terry, she introduced the bill, a woman. Okay. And you had females that were in the Democratic delegation who walked out. What are your thoughts on legislators, whether it was in the Senate? I think that Malika Sanders Ford, she didn't vote, and the people that walked out, about at least being on record saying no. What are your thoughts on that? Or did you agree with the protest based on the fact that rape and incest wasn't included?
Right. So I think one of the things that I noticed the most, and I noticed this first on the House floor, and then it happened again on the Senate floor. But the thing that I noticed, right, is that all of the people who really went to bat against this bill, right, were our Black lawmakers, right? The most passionate and the most people who were saying no, we can't do this. And, and I'll say this about them, right? And this is why I really love them and I respect them so much, because of the way that they fought this, because they know what will happen to people in their communities and all of our communities if this bill goes into effect. And, a lot of them, this is because a lot of them were like, you know what, look, personally, in my personal life, I am pro-life. And I would, I don't know, but I don't know what decisions I would make about, abortion and all of these situations that we have been presented with. But I consider myself a pro-life person. But they also said, each and every one of them, especially those that were a woman, they were like, but I would not force my own beliefs on anyone else. Because, and they said this over and over again, that they knew that people were in individual specific situations and that everybody who needs an abortion needs it for their reason. And it
Right.
is
With their reason. That's what I'm saying.
right. And that's what our that's what our like Black women legislators like
Right.
did in the last few weeks. Like they really went to bat for us, and it was amazing. And they really showed how abortion shouldn't be a political issue. It's
Right.
a personal issue, and the state shouldn't legislate it, because when the state legislates to try to restrict abortion access, the only thing that happens is people are harmed. And you can't have that. And in Alabama, and the people who are harmed are already the most marginalized people, right? And in Alabama, that means our poor rural Black communities are going to be harmed the most.
Poor white, poor Hispanic, poor people.
Yeah.
They are always the ones who get the short end of the stick. And I'm glad that you said that about, you know, making those particular type of decisions, and them not understanding that, because as being in my field, these things, you don't know what you would do in those situations. And I do have coworkers, you know, matter of fact, I went live the other day at work, who one of the things that she said, Portia, I'm pro-life, but I would never tell a person what they can and cannot do based on those circumstances. And for them to not even take in consideration of life circumstances says a lot about them as individuals. So I'm gonna get back to that question, Jay, in a minute, but you got a question that's in line with what we're talking about right now. Everybody's saying yes, they can hear, yes, they can hear. Tamara Cash Kinney, I hope I pronounced your name correct. She said, does this law apply to children who get raped by child predators?
Yes, it does. There is no exception for any form of rape or incest, no matter how old the survivor is, or, you know, how the crime was perpetrated or what the details are.
Okay, I hope she answered your question. Going back to Jadrian's question, she said, where are you guys located? I'd love to volunteer.
Okay, so we have, we work everywhere, all over the state. So one of the things that you can do if you are interested in volunteering, we have an online volunteer form. It's a bit.ly form. So the address is bit.
Oh, hold up. Let me type it in there for everybody. All right. bit.
.ly.
.ly.
/YHF.
YHF.
Volunteer.
Okay, hold on. I think I put 2 Y. I ain't got my glasses on. Okay, YHF. You said what now? I got bit.ly /YHF volunteer.
That's it.
Okay. All right, so guys, I'm giving you guys the link that you guys can fill out in order for you to be able to volunteer. So you have another comment here, and it's from my mom. She said, I feel that every woman who wants an abortion should take their child after it's born to the people who voted for this law.
Right.
And she said, and every rape baby should be taken to them as well. The same, someone else, Jay, said, the same people fussing about people getting food stamps don't want it. People really don't know. People really don't know how many women around here have kids for their uncles, daddies, brothers, and cousins, based on even before this will pass. So you let us know about what the abortion law is. We cover that. You also let us know what's next. One of the things that I like the fact that you said that, you know, even if someone wants to have one, even if you can't have it in our state, there are other ways and other resources out there that can help you move forward with that. And then the third thing is what can be the next thing for the state of Alabama as it relates to rape? Because I've already said that this is the beginning, especially. I mean, and they're trying to be so smart with the strategic plan, but everybody sees that this is happening. Okay, that y'all all met somewhere and said that this is what it is that you're gonna do. So, in our state, what could we do to overturn this? What could we do? I know the next election not till 2022, and a lot of things are gonna be forgotten by then. But you have so many people that is for this bill. You do have some that is against it. So what could happen in order for us to move forward as a state surrounding this issue?
So I think that, what we really need to do is we really need to start having really honest conversations about abortion outside of the political rhetoric that everyone has told us we have to have them inside of. Because that doesn't give us real tools for talking about the real complexities, right? That you and I see every day, right? It doesn't, and it doesn't give us, right? And that's what, right? It's what our Democratic lawmakers said. Our Democratic women lawmakers, right? They said that every person has their abortion for their own particular reason. And it's not up for any of us, right? It's not up for the law. And it's not up for any of us personally to decide whether or not someone else's reasons are valid, right? We don't walk in their shoes. We don't know their lives. We don't know what's going on with them. And, these legislators definitely don't know what's going on, with every single person, in their district and what they're really going through. If they were, and if they did know, and they do know, then they're the cruelest people in the world because they don't care, because Alabamians don't have health care. We don't, we don't have teachers in our schools. The Trump's Department of Justice is going after Alabama's prison system.
Wow.
It's our prison system is so bad that Trump's Department of Justice is going after it. But we're spending time and money in the legislature on this,
right?
Which will only harm people and put people in the jails that, we can't maintain, or staff. Because we don't have time.
You got a lot of comments coming in now, but conversation is definitely. That's just like when you talked about that, because I was listening. It was someone Bobby was debating. I don't even know now. I don't remember. He had on glasses. A white guy. He had on glasses, and he was trying to get statistics about the number of abortions that were made versus the number of rapes reported. And I'm saying to myself, he's so dumb. He don't even understand that everybody who get raped don't report it. Even the numbers as it relates to rape are off, because it is not based on people who don't report. For every one rape that's reported, there are 10 that are unreported. So even after that, you can't even compare the two. Secondly, even with those particular numbers, as it relates to abortion, we're not the only people that have come to our state to have abortions. That have abortions in our state. So even if you get that data, that number is screwed, because they're not necessarily people here in our state. So that's why I was like, they don't think before they speak, and they get half information and run with it and make decisions off of half truth. So you got to come in from. Let me put my glasses on because I can't see y'all. All right. So Tamara Kennedy, she said, so you're gonna tell that if the daughters of these white men get raped, they're gonna force their children to keep the baby that represents the violence that was perpetrated against them. According to the law, that is accurate. That's not going. They will have them across state lines. Your head will spin. And we know this. And Liz said, yes, we need to have conversations. Sherry Hyde, she says, I wish these lawmakers cared as much for the children in foster care, kids who are being abused in education in Alabama, as much as they care for this bill. Tamara comes back and said, they claim it's a human life issue, but they believe in the death penalty. They're such hypocrites. So these are just people that are outraged about what has taken place. And you've given us hope on what is next with ACLU and Planned Parenthood coming in and fight with your Yellowhammer Fund continuing to help women across this state and beyond get the help that they need to have safe abortions. We got to keep that in mind of having of safe abortions. I also heard, and I want to know your thoughts on this before I let you go. I also heard that they may be coming after birth control. Have you heard anything as it relates to that? And if so, what do you think can happen to try to stop that process from happening? Because that's going to come after Plan Bs. That's going to come after a lot of things as related. And the next part of that is Plan B a part of this bill? So, can you answer some of that stuff? I know there was a lot, But can you?
No, that's good. That's a really good question, and I'm going to get something actually to help me
Okay, sure, that's fine.
with the question. So the bill itself does not do anything about birth control,
Right,
or Plan B, right? Because birth control pills, like birth control pills, the birth control shot, and Plan B do not cause abortions. They can't, chemically, it's not going to happen. You may have heard stories, seen it on the internet, but you see a lot of stuff on the internet. Don't mean it's true. But, about people taking a bunch of birth control or a bunch of, Plan B and having an abortion. That's not true. They don't work that way. That's the facts. And so, right. So if you see anything that's labeled Plan B or an emergency contraceptive, right, that does not cause an abortion. If you take it and you are already pregnant, no matter how many you take, that's it's not going to, cause you to have a miscarriage.
right.
It will only work before you become pregnant, right? It will not work after you become pregnant. It just doesn't work that way. And I will say that our fund does give away free Plan B in Birmingham, and we ship it out to different nonprofits who work with direct services with people. We give it out for free in Birmingham at the Birmingham Free Store. And if you want to go out there and pick it up, you can call our fund hotline, or our fund. It's a voicemail or a call service,
Okay,
and it's 844. 935 5386.
Okay.
And you'll listen, to the message, and it will tell you the correct extension to dial to get Plan B in Birmingham. And the folks that it'll connect you with will let you know all the details. But it's this, right, that we're giving out. I don't know if that's a good.
I'm just like, my coworker Steve, he be picking at them things. But yeah, those are Plan B. Those are preventative, made by Vagisil. Those are Plan Bs. Absolutely. Those are also things that happens when you get, if you get ready to have a after you're raped, they're offered, if you get your rape kit within the 72-hour period, they're offered to victims as well. We don't force them to take it. It's an option for victims if they want to take it, just in case. So yeah, those are very good things. And Amanda does a lot of work, guys. And I hope you guys who are serious about it, make sure that you guys support it. But go ahead.
Okay. So this bill doesn't do anything about contraception or Plan B, because neither of those, will cause an end to a pregnancy. Doesn't happen ever. But it is, the people who write these bills and support these bills are very much against, Plan B and birth control. And they perpetuate misinformation that says that these are, abortion causing drugs, but they're not, right? You can look this up. The FDA says this, about Plan B and about, birth control. In some countries, birth control is actually, available over the counter. You don't even, it's need a prescription, because it's actually very, very safe, and it does not cause you to have an abortion. But that may be the next step, right? If they get away with this, maybe this could be the next step. But they are always constantly looking for ways to undermine access, right? They may not go to try to make it illegal. They may do what they have done with abortion access, is to, just gradually chip away at how you can get it, where you can get it, and how much it costs, right? It was a great blessing, with the Affordable Care Act that, birth control is free, for folks that have insurance. But people, the legislators in Alabama did not like that. They were not for it. And a lot of the lawmakers, from Alabama that were, in the federal legislature at that time, did not like that provision and actively fought that provision. And which is, really ridiculous, because that probably does more to prevent abortions than making abortion illegal ever has. So it's ridiculous, these people who say they don't like abortions and they don't want them to happen, right? They don't want unintended pregnancies to happen, but they don't want to help us, make the solutions. They just want to try to shame people for things that they do that are normal, and that, tragedies that happen to them, like sexual assault. I was like, that's not right.
It's not right. It's not right at all. And I know, I'm sorry, it's not 72 hours, guys. It's 120 hours as it relates to the rape kit. It's 120 hours. My bad. I definitely appreciate Amanda coming on the show. You got a comment from Lorinda Stone. She said, I love that you're talking about this. She's talking to you. And she loved that you're talking about that. And Tamara said you did answer her question. Thank you. Do you think that the future of Alabama, she said, does anyone watch The Handmaid's Tale? You would see what the future would look like. This is up here. Do you think that we would go back to that?
White women will.
Oh.
Because, no, it's true. Because, no. So, these people, I say that, and it's a big thing to say, but I'm not, I'm not taking you for a ride. All of these, so many people who have come to testify in favor of these bills have been people who run private adoption agencies, lawyers, who run private adoption agencies that are very profitable. And one of the effects, right? And so, if this bill does, go into effect, and, there are, a lot of babies, right, that need to be adopted, people, and that's one of the other things, right? People don't want to adopt children that are already in the system, right? They want, quote unquote, like new babies, and that's horrible, but right. But that's, part of what this will be like. It will sort of be like that for white women, because that is what it was like before Roe versus Wade for a lot of white women, right? They would, girls, when they couldn't get abortions and they were pregnant in high school or younger, it's like they would send them away to homes, right, where they would continue their pregnancies, give birth, and then, the baby would be whisked away and put up for adoption somewhere and never see them again, right? There are stories, there are academic books like written about this, right? It's like one of them, I can't remember the author, but it's called The Girls Who Went Away. And then it has something Roe versus Wade in the title. That's a good book about it. I'm reading a good book about it, about this woman that worked in Tennessee, who basically did this. And it was a big case because she was essentially selling these newborns that she stole from poor white families to celebrities and things like that. And that's what will happen, because these people are already here, right? They're already trying to talk to the legislature, to pass these bills and say, we've got this, we can all of these children.
Follow the money, guys. Always follow the money, and you will definitely get to. And you know what? Even though I said wow, honestly, it's not surprising, because it's just like, why now? Like, that's the part that I kept saying, like, why now? And then, like you said, the 2020 election is coming up. They're kind of scared that Trump going to lose or whatever. So they're going to push abortion is going to be the number one topic during the presidential election. And all the pro-lifers and all the people that are going to get scared, and all the pro-life Republicans and libertarians and whoever are going to all come out in droves and vote in this election. And people who usually vote Democrat is going to sit at home, and then he's going to get reelected. And then we'll probably go back to overturning a lot of this stuff that come forward. Or then again, if we have two Supreme Court judges who said that they're tired and they're old, they go home or pass away, he will be replacing them, which will get us into a more conservative Supreme Court. And then we have another fight as it relates to overturning Roe versus Wade, which is what Amanda said at the beginning of the conversation, which is the ultimate goal. Amanda, what are your final thoughts about, I know it's a lot, but what are your final thoughts and what are your encouragement to women who are, I've seen posts of women saying they feel bad, they want to move, and then if they move, like I told a couple of people, you move, you got other state passing similar legislation. So
where are you gonna move?
Yeah, where you gonna go? Where you gonna go? So okay, let me take this down. I think I did it. Okay, there we go. So what are your final thoughts to the women of our state, to the people who want to know what can I do to fight and get involved? What are your final thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, so what I really want to say to people is that I don't feel that they should be scared right now. I'm feeling very energized, and I'm feeling very energized because we are getting a lot of attention, and we're getting a lot of donations. And that's great because it means a lot of things. It means, number one, we'll be able to get people the care they need now. And it means that we're going to get people the care they need in the future, despite what the legislature does, despite, what happens in the courts, despite what goes into effect, right? There are people like all across the nation, like me, who have these organizations, and we know how to get people to safe care, and we're gonna do that, no matter what. And so I think that, you shouldn't be scared, but you should be vigilant, right? And you should make sure that these folks, don't keep getting away with doing really harmful stuff to us, because that's just not fair. And it's not fair because it is always the people who are the most marginalized, who are the most hurt. And we just can't take that anymore.
I don't think I did. Can you hear me? Only thing I did was put you in the center. It's like your final thought to the audience. So, your final sentence to the people of our state would be what? And I'm putting you on by yourself. Go.
Abortion is a human right, and it's not a right that was given to us by the Constitution or any document. Abortion is the right to do what we want with our own bodies, and only we can make that decision.
Well, all right then. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have heard from Miss Amanda Reyes, who is the founder and worker of Yellow Hammer Fund. I put all her information in the comments. We appreciate you so much for your fight. Anytime you want to come on here and vent, we got up to 40-something views tonight already, and at one time. So we're excited about that. So we'll definitely appreciate you coming on tonight, and thank you for being honest. Thank you for providing accurate information. I want to make sure I say that. So people won't be all over the place. And I love you too, Liz. Liz said, Amanda and Portia, leaders we can't do without. We appreciate your support. And definitely, Amanda, we appreciate you for your work here in our state. You guys, hey, look, support Amanda, support ACLU, Planned Parenthood. If you support Amanda, one of the things that she said tonight that I want you guys to remember, for those of you who are like, this is not right, how can I help? Her organization helped women continue safe abortions that live in our state for whatever circumstances. And no, you would not get arrested for going outside of the state and handling your business. No, you know what I'm saying? The person who drives you won't get arrested. All this crazy stuff that y'all seen on the internet is inaccurate. You can still do it. You just can't do it in our state if ACLU don't win, which I think they probably will under the federal law. So thank you so much, Mandy. I appreciate you. Anytime you want to come back and discuss, and I'll probably have you on later on within the 6 months period, so we can get an update of what's happening and how other things that you may need for us to do. My mom said, thank you so much, Amanda, for your hard work.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.